Sometimes in baseball, the loudest moves aren't the ones that change everything. Sometimes it's the quiet shuffle of the deck, the sudden disappearance of one card, that makes the next hand inevitable. And last night, almost without warning, everything fell perfectly into place for the Toronto Blue Jays. Not because of a blockbuster involving Toronto themselves, but because of a trade elsewhere that sent shockwaves through the market and quietly cleared a path the Jays may have been waiting for all along. What looked like chaos suddenly became clarity, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why this might be one of the most important moments of the off-season for Toronto. Welcome back to the Blue Jays Report, and trust me when I say this story only gets more interesting the deeper we go. Before we dive headfirst into it all, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you enjoy these deep dives, and share this with a fellow Jays fan who lives for trade season. The support on the Blue Jays Report has been unreal, and it genuinely fuels these conversations. Now let's get into it, because everything starts with a move that didn't involve Toronto at all, yet somehow feels like it was made for them. The Seattle Mariners acquired Brendan Donovan, a name that had been floating around Blue Jays circles for months, whispered in comment sections, debated endlessly, and quietly admired by the front office. Donovan was one of those players who felt like a perfect fit on paper, versatile, disciplined, reliable, and the type of hitter managers trust in October. Many Jays fans wanted him badly. But the key detail here isn't that Toronto missed out. It's what that trade confirmed beyond any doubt. The St. Louis Cardinals are sellers. Not dabblers, not bluffers, not teams pretending to listen while holding tight. Sellers. And once that reality set in, the landscape changed instantly. The Cardinals didn't just move Donovan, they signaled that more pieces are available, that the door is open, and that contenders willing to act decisively can now strike. And suddenly, the Blue Jays find themselves staring at an opportunity that may be even more intriguing than the one that just slipped away. This is where a name most people aren't talking about comes into focus. Alec Burleson. A player who doesn't dominate headlines, doesn't trend on social media, and doesn't spark heated debates on sports radio, yet somehow fits the Blue Jays like a tailored suit. The moment Donovan landed in Seattle, Burleson's availability became far more realistic, and his value to Toronto became impossible to ignore. Burleson isn't flashy, but baseball has a funny way of rewarding players who quietly do their jobs well. He's a left-handed bat, something this lineup continues to crave, and he brings a skill set that becomes far more valuable in the context of Toronto's roster construction. Last season, he transitioned heavily into first base while still maintaining the ability to play the outfield. That versatility alone puts him firmly on the Blue Jays' radar, especially with how aggressively John Schneider likes to mix and match. Statistically, Burleson tells a story that doesn't leap off the page until you read it carefully. And .802 OPS, 18 home runs, and consistently hard contact paint the picture of a hitter who knows who he is. He's only 27 years old, meaning his best years are very much still ahead of him. He doesn't strike out excessively, he doesn't chase recklessly, and while he won't walk into a Gold Glove ceremony anytime soon, his bat more than compensates for his defensive shortcomings. Defense is the knock, and it's a fair one. He's not an elite outfielder, and first base will never boost anyone's advanced metrics dramatically. But context matters. With Dalton Varsho patrolling center field and strong arms around him, the Blue Jays are better equipped than most to absorb defensive imperfections if the offensive upside is right. Burleson's arm strength is solid, his instincts are improving, and his left-handed power plays beautifully in this ballpark. What makes this fit so compelling is flexibility. On days when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. needs a break at first base or slides into the DH spot, Burleson gives you a competent, comfortable option. On other days, he can rotate through the corner outfield positions, allowing Schneider to exploit matchups and rest players without sacrificing too much production. Against right-hand pitching, a lineup featuring multiple left-handed threats suddenly feels far more balanced and dangerous. This is also a cost conversation. Brendan Donovan was always going to be expensive, not just in money but in prospects. His defensive versatility and track record drive that price up. Burleson, by comparison, offers a more modest acquisition cost while still addressing one of the Jays' most obvious needs. It's not cheap, but it's reasonable, and crucially, it doesn't require gutting the farm system. There's another layer to this that makes it even more intriguing. Burleson's underlying metrics suggest there may be more to unlock. His barrel rates hover around league average, his expected numbers hint at untapped potential, and this is where coaching becomes pivotal. Drop him into a system with someone like Dave Popkins working on approach and swing decisions, and suddenly the idea of an .850 or even .900 OPS season doesn't feel outrageous. It feels possible. And that's the thing about moments like this. They're not about perfection. They're about timing. The Cardinals selling. Donovan off the board. The market shifting just enough to create space. The Blue Jays didn't need to overpay yesterday, and today they might not have to. Everything has fallen into place, but only if Toronto is willing to step forward and take it. While all of this trade intrigue has been unfolding, there have been other developments that quietly add to the sense that this organization is on the brink of something special. The betting markets recently released their American League Rookie of the Year odds, and nestled right near the top were not one, but two Blue Jays. Trey Savage sits as a strong favorite, and right alongside the league's most hyped newcomers is Kazuma Okamoto, carrying the same odds as some of baseball's most talked-about names. Savage, in particular, feels like a story waiting to explode. Everything about his profile screams impact, and if he stays healthy, it's hard not to imagine him taking this award by force. But Okamoto being in that conversation matters too. It speaks to depth, to upside, and to a lineup that may be far more dangerous than people realize. When bookmakers start paying attention, it's usually because something real is brewing. Of course, not every update brings good news. Injury concerns still lurk in the background, reminding us how fragile even the best plans can be. Jake Bloss, a pitcher with real promise, continues to navigate the aftermath of elbow surgery involving his ulnar collateral ligament. It's a situation the front office will have to handle delicately, balancing roster flexibility, service time, and long-term health. Decisions like these rarely make headlines, but they shape seasons all the same. That's the reality of this moment for the Blue Jays. It's not one dramatic move that defines it, but a collection of subtle shifts all pointing in the same direction. The Cardinals are selling. The market is thinning. The Jays' internal options are developing. The opportunity to add one more meaningful bat without sacrificing the future is right there, waiting to be seized. So now the question becomes simple, but not easy. Do the Blue Jays act? Do they recognize that sometimes the smartest move is the one that feels almost too neat, too well-timed, too perfect? Or do they hesitate and watch another contender capitalize instead? I want to hear what you think. Is Alec Burleson the right move for Toronto? Does this feel like the moment everything clicks into place, or would you rather see the Jays hold their cards a little longer? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed the breakdown, share it with another Jays fan who lives for this stuff, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report for more in-depth coverage as this off-season continues to unfold. Because in baseball, the quiet moments often decide everything.